eventually wind got around even at the publishing company that I had this thing that I did. And the president said, oh, we want that, which is in itself remarkable, and that really launched me on this journey of sharing this technique with the whole world.
Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. Hey, welcome everybody to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast Show. Man, we keep bringing the most amazing guests. They're all amazing, of course. And this is a totally amazing guest. This person is sought after, consultant, speaker. Like, it's so many of these big events you ever hear at A-Fest, and I don't know, just all these different ones. She was in on, creating, Hay House Radio, I believe, and everything. If I'm reading your bio right, like, oh my God, this is co-host with Dr. Wayne Dyer, and all the list goes on. I'm going to get into it in a moment. And she's going to be talking about something that's absolutely phenomenal that I do myself in my own way. She's way beyond me, I think, and I believe, who knows, but like, that's how I see it. And she's going to teach you about flow dreaming. Oh my God, I can't wait to hear her expertise on this subject. So Summer, it's such a pleasure to have you here today.
Daniel, thank you. Wow, I feel so hyped from that introduction. I'm like, I did all that. Yes, I did. I did do that.
What do you know? Things have been happening. This is cool, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me tell them more about you. So Summer McStravick is a personal growth coach, author, podcaster, and creator of Flowdreaming, an energy technique for manifesting, healing, and growing inner emotional strength. Her books and podcasts have been used worldwide to transform people's inner emotional landscapes as well as their external lives. Her latest book is called Stuff Nobody Taught You. Oh gosh, there's so much of that. 40 lessons from me school to help you stop being miserable and start feeling amazing. Yes, we're amazing. We should feel amazing. Ultimately.
Exactly.
So Summer's been teaching for 18 years. Previously, she's worked for Louise L for a decade and she created hayhouseradio.com. You can find her at flowdreaming.com or through her podcast. She's got an incredible podcast all about flow dreaming. How about that? So again, it's just such an honor to have you here today. Someone's one of those pioneers has been helping to move things forward for a long time. And so tell us, it seemed like I've read some of your book. You know how it is when you got guests. I'm just not a rabid reader, to be honest. I love talking. That's why I've got a podcast. But I do review the books whenever I get a chance, especially when I get that nudge. And I definitely reviewed some of yours. And it seems like my God, that is so wonderful. Like with your mom, I think you said in there and everything. Sometimes I mix my stories, so I just double check. But like you started this like when you were young and your mom like was really advanced with all this kind of stuff. So tell us about your background with this flow dreaming stuff a little bit.
Well, yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. I have been in the world of woo, as I call it, the world of woo for my entire life. My mom, my grandmother's mother, her mother, we go back multiple generations, the firstborn daughter of the firstborn daughter, and we all turned out the way we are. I would say it was, well, I know exactly when it was. It was the year 2000. We all survived it, by the way, if anybody remembers Y2K. I was really trying to figure out, what direction to go in life. I had started a small literary magazine, and I was desperately trying to keep it afloat as a very young entrepreneur in my 20s. And it was reaching a point of like, I had just lost tens of thousands of dollars. And back then, that was a lot. Even today, that's a lot. And I remember talking to my mom and saying, I've got to manifest success. I have to manifest success. So I'm going to really condense this story, but I happened upon just about by accident, because I was such in a place of yearning and desperation, which is often when things kind of reach tipping points, right? That I fell into what I call the flow dreaming space. And it wasn't a channeled space necessarily. It wasn't a meditative space. We recognize it today as flow, but it was flow not just from a psychological standpoint, but as if you had taken the concept of flow or flow state and applied it to your greater consciousness, right? So it wasn't just my brain that was being entrained in what was in front of me. It was my brain being entrained to the whole of everything. In that space, I began really working to create and save this magazine. I later understood that that's not exactly how all this stuff works out. The magazine was meant to go away. Um, I was meant to be someplace else. So I call it flow just generally. Flow did exactly what it was supposed to do, made me let go of that magazine, made me step into the next stage, which is where I actually got, I would say, my MBA in spirituality, my master's degree in spirituality. And that was working for a decade for Hay House Publishing and putting together just every audio webinar, podcast put out by just the list of luminaries is endless for that time. So anyway, that's a long story short. I kind of fell into this because it was my own private practice. But the more I began sharing it with other people, eventually wind got around even at the publishing company that I had this thing that I did. And the president said, oh, we want that, which is in itself remarkable, and that really launched me on this journey of sharing this technique with the whole world. It's a lot
Wow.
more exciting than that, but I'm trying to keep it condensed because otherwise I could
I
talk forever
heard
about
that.
that.
I heard that. Yeah. Sure, I could go on forever. That's
Yes.
something for sure, right? It's your thing. I mean, one
Yeah.
of your main jams. So, wow. Okay. So, what is it exactly? Now that we've sort of got some build up into there's this thing that's so awesome that you tapped into, and it goes beyond this just flow thing.
Yeah.
It's a whole
Yeah.
nother thing. And tell us more about what is it? What is flow dreaming?
Okay, so it's a technique on the one hand. It's also a philosophy on the other.
Hmm.
I would say it's like yoga. You can do the practice of yoga and go to the gym and do your yoga class. But if you really dive in, you realize there's a whole world behind that. Why these poses, what the energy is that's being changed and shifted in your body, not just the physical. Flow dreaming is the same. There is an easy, incredibly, stupidly easy technique that you learn. It's got three pillars to it. It's got daydreaming in it, flow state in it, and deep, profound emotion. I bring those together, and we could talk about the technique and actually do it maybe a little bit later. But that is what sort of opens a conduit, as I like to say. It opens a communication line with expanded consciousness. So when I'm in there, though, the question is, well, what do you do? What's the point of that? To go back to my original story about manifesting, back in the day, obviously, I had been following Abraham Hicks. I had been, working with Louise and Wayne and just amazing people. Yet I kept feeling like, look, I'm trying to create, but I don't feel like I'm really being heard. It's more, I'm being told more like, just think a certain way. You got to feel, you got to get your mindset always in the right place. And I remember feeling so frustrated because at that time, I had a full-time job as a working mom. I had two little kids at home and I had a marriage and I had all this stuff. And I come home exhausted. And I said, well, today I did an absolutely terrible job of keeping my mind in the, vortex, or, the great space. I said,
Hmm.
there's got to be a technique or something I can do that is sort of more potent, that will give the universe really clear direction on this is who I am, this is where I'm going, this is where I'm becoming. So from this whole like universe of teachings started to come to me, I guess you could say. I kept doing the practice, which again we'll do. But the more I did it, the more I started to shift my understanding of like, what does manifesting mean? I don't ever talk about law of attraction because my way of finding manifesting ended up being a little bit different. than what became, really popular years ago. But like, all streams lead to the ocean. Mine's a littler stream, perhaps, in law of attraction, but it still gets you there. And for me, it gets me there a whole lot faster. So the basic idea is that, well, we all have a flow in our life, a flow of energy, a trajectory. Imagine, like the minute you're born, you're being shot forward like an arrow, and you're going to move through this life. And it's pretty frictionless. Like, you don't have to struggle to get older. You don't have to try hard to age and move in this direction you're moving. The sun and the earth doesn't struggle to move around the sun. The universe isn't struggling to expand. So if I look at this and I think, well, if everything has a flawless natural direction, oh, and lots of stuff can get in the way. Comets can blow up out there, or, stuff can happen, the poles can shift, whatever. But generally speaking, there is a direction, even though there may be some resistance that comes in from time to time. That means I have that same thing too, right? Because I believe in patterns in the natural world. So me as a being, as a consciousness, I also have a natural flow, a natural direction where everything is just doing its thing and I don't have to worry about it. I just can let myself be in it and be as active as I can, like let myself sculpt this direction as much as possible. So I'm really in communion, I guess, with my life and my greater direction all the time. The physical me is saying, I want to experience and feel these things as a human. Larger me is saying, great, let's align you to your most flowing self, right? That perfect and gorgeous, frictionless, resistance-free direction that everything in this universe and all the universes perhaps have. So I'm working constantly with what other people might call, expanded consciousness or God mind or whatever you call it. But I'm working in tandem with it. And when I'm flow dreaming, I'm expressing not just things that I want, but I'm expressing what I feel those things will lead me to. And for me, that's always emotion. Stop me at any point, because I could go on and on.
Well, you're doing great. I want to hear more about it. So, but I
Yeah.
understand what you're saying with the flow.
Yes.
The minute you even said it, I'm like, yep,
You got
yep,
it.
all these different,
Uh-huh.
right? So
Yeah.
I've used other words for it, but the minute you said that, yeah, like, yeah, there's that
Yeah.
flow that we're always, it's always
Yeah.
there, right? And if we get upset, we're like, we can't feel the flow so much, but
Yeah. Out of flow.
because that's got your attention now, right? And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
otherwise, when you're in a lighter state, like, yeah, there's a sense of there's a river flowing through you, and like things are just unfolding.
Exactly. It's like we all have days or weeks where everything just clicks, everything goes right, everything comes together. And we, even our hair looks good. And we're like, what is this? How come everything is just working so easily? And then we'll hit other patches where nothing is working. Everything is falling apart. You can imagine that as being in flow versus being out of flow. And instead of saying, well, you get what you get, you don't throw a fit. That's a momism coming out of me, right? I say, no, I don't want to be a passive receptor of things in my life. I want to be the activator of things in my life, the quote, manifester of things in my life. Most of us are spending most of our time in a passive, responsive position in life. Things happen, and we're allowed to feel certain responses to those things. If we feel a response to something that hasn't happened, people are like, what are you doing? That's ridiculous. I say, well, it's not actually a response. It's something different. I call it a response, right? Response is when you're waiting for the outside world to let you feel things, and then you respond or act accordingly to them. We have so many wishes and desires that we're often saying, well, if this would just happen, if that person would do this, if I had that resource or that money, or if, then. And so we end up in this really, I call it power leaky position in our lives. And not our whole lives, but usually we've got one or two areas, like we can all raise our hands and say, yeah, my area is this one or that one, money or love or my body or whatever.
Right.
But instead, what I do is I kind of flip that dynamic around. I say, I'm going to instead pre-act or pre-spawn. I would like life to respond to me. I am going to initiate the feelings that previously I'd been waiting for something, anything out there to let me have through whatever circumstances that I'm hoping for. So I'm never trying to manipulate outside things as a manifestor. I never do that. It's sort of pointless. Instead, the only thing that I'm changing, carving, sculpting, and growing is me. Imagine if you're standing in front of a mirror, right? You change your shirt, the mirror has to reflect back all the new colors. That's how I treat my life. I change how I'm feeling. I add in the feelings that I want to have, and life is now going to mirror back whatever circumstances it can put together that will give me those feelings. So I navigate through life really with what I call these emotional endpoints. So for instance, if I wanted something like more money, everybody wants that one. So I'll use that as an example, right? I need more money. I'm like, what do you need more money for? And have there been times when you had money? Yes. And then what happened? I spent it. And then what happened? I need more. Okay. And what do you need it for? So that I can get more things. Why do you need the things? Well, if I have the things, I'll feel, I don't know, safe, or I'll feel secure, or I'll feel like I have freedom, or I'll feel like I don't have to worry anymore. And I'm like, now we're getting to it, right? You're asking for things to reach these emotions. Why not just ask for the emotions? So in flow, we spend a lot of time cultivating these emotional states and sort of letting life now readjust itself around us to reflect what we are creating here inside. It's a weird thing for sometimes people to bring up an emotion inside themselves with no connection to anything else. Like if I said right now, Daniel, bring up a feeling of absolute, let's say, complete contentment. It's kind of an easy one, but let's do contentment.
Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free meditate, make money meditation today.
No one is easier. I could feel it right away when you said it. Yeah.
Good. So now sustain that feeling. And you'll notice after a little while, you start to drift a bit. If I say a harder one, like,
right? When you're meditation, we tend to drift.
yeah, exactly. If I said joy, you might be like, well, joy is a harder one to reach. It feels like it's hanging a little higher on the tree. I need something to feel joyful about. Maybe, maybe not. Let's just practice the state of joy, the emotion of it. Now, every time we practice a feeling like that, it actually becomes part of us, right? As we think, so we are. As we feel, so we become. So I like to practice all the emotions that I want to put into this soul being of myself, because I want myself to be more filled with them. If I'm more filled with them, then the universe gets to figure out how to now like reflect that new shirt that I'm wearing and through all the different things that happen around me. Now, I totally went off on a tangent. I can't remember what your question was at this point, but I'm trying to give some basic concepts.
Like you're like going off or whatever, but you're not. So,
all right.
Yeah, I mean, I've got all these different pointers, and I've got like funds here. I've got my altar, all these different states of being and whatnot, and
yeah.
So I think there's a lot of talk around. It's around state of being. It's around state of being that's been building up.
Right.
What you're talking about is a bit different to me, because you're talking about actually you don't hear this all the time. Like actually feel the joy, like it's like a muscle you're working. Like don't just wait for it. All of a sudden, there's a weight to lift now. Now I feel the joy or whatever.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's the biggest gift I think I was given with this, because to know that there is an actual technique you can practice that creates this mind state for me is everything. Because otherwise I just felt like I was always just reaching for that manifesting mindset. Like, where is that manifesting mindset? But when I do this practice, it's the same as if you go to a gym every day. Your muscles will change. They can't help but change. Like they have to respond from the continuous action. Think of it as going to a kind of emotional, energetic gym every day. You do a 15-minute practice, you have just strengthened, grown, and slightly changed a part of you. Eventually, just like that big, bulky bod we're going for, your emotional, energetic self becomes much more representative of who you want it to be. And
Mhm.
then the world outside again is going to be reflecting that. So my manifesting is all happening here. And it happens in a 5-minute technique, a 10-minute technique. It happens throughout the day. I even go into flow state when I engage in what I call lack thinking, right? You've probably heard of some scarcity thinking. There's lots of different ways of describing it. But so often in our day we'll go, oh man, I'm going to be late to this appointment. I hate being late, and then it's going to be a mess, and then traffic's going to be so hard. And we notice, we go, oh, you're bracing for something that hasn't yet happened. And you went right to how hard it will be and what you're going to have to do in response to it. When that happens, I call it lack thinking, because what we're saying to the universe is, this is now what I'm expecting. I'm already feeling the emotions that result from this thing that I'm expecting. In a way, I'm flow dreaming, but in a yucky way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because now I'm creating negative emotion. Now, the world outside me is going, oh, okay, well, that's what's expected. Let's make sure that that happens. And then off to
Mhm.
the races, we go, and that's what we end up getting.
Right.
So even moment to moment, I've been teaching and training
Yeah.
myself over the last couple of decades to notice when I have a lack thought come in. And I can always tell a lack thought always has a sense of some sort of negative emotion inside of it:
Mhm.
fear or scarcity, bracing, even uncertainty can sometimes tend toward a negative. I'd put it in the negative category, right? And negative doesn't mean bad, by the way. I'm not dissing any negative emotions here, because they're really, really important. I could talk about that too. But
Mm.
I'm able to go, hey, this lack came up. Maybe I want to feel something different about this. I don't yet know if I'll be late. I don't yet know if being late was actually in divine timing and I'm supposed to be late, for some
Mm.
very good and divine reason.
Right.
So I'm
Exactly.
working constantly on this emotional, energetic self all day, every day, until
Mhm.
eventually you as a whole being change and your whole life changes. It's like we all know people who are really negative all the time, and they say these
Mhm.
terrible things are always happening. And I look at them and I go, wow, you are actually right. You have a crazy amount of negative things, like way over most people. I'm like, you're 100% right. And they're like, I know I'm right. I keep telling you. And I'm like, wow, and it makes perfect sense to me, because that's what they
Yeah.
keep communicating. And every time they expect something negative and they receive something negative, they double down on their knowing that they
Right.
are right about it. So they
Right.
become more and more right about it. And the universe replies more and more in kind. But when you take
Right.
a different tack, then you start to be more and more right about good things happening, the
Yeah.
right pivots at the right time, and so forth. And so for me, I play a long game when I flow dream, right? This
Mhm.
is like a lifetime of
Mhm.
practice here.
Right.
Anyway, you want to say something?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's about cultivating within, which is where it's all at. I mean, even people are teaching people to build businesses. If often anyway, hopefully a lot of them anyway are talking about the inner changes that need to be made, right? So
Oh
something
yeah.
needs to shift within, right? I mean, I even think like when you learn new marketing strategies, it's rewiring you. Like, ooh, I'm getting this vibration, this marketing, and I feel different now, right? I mean, so all of
True.
it is about a vibration, of course. And so I love that. Yeah, I mean, again, like I just want to double down on that. That is something that is so interesting because people don't say, okay, we're gonna do not that often anyway. I mean, I know it happens, but like, okay,
Yeah.
now just sit there and feel that joy. Now bring it out stronger, and all that kind of thing. And you know,
Yeah.
people will say that with love, but not with joy usually. Like, okay, we're gonna do a love
Yeah.
meditation or so, but things like
Mhm.
bliss, joy, ones that aren't as accessible. The idea that you can train that
Yeah.
is again is sort of revolutionary. I mean, I haven't heard
Yeah.
really anybody talk about that out there so much. Only with love,
Hmm.
like let's cultivate love,
Hmm.
love, 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 love. But
Or gratitude, right? The
yeah,
gratitude's the other popular
gratitude,
one. Hmm.
gratitude's pretty popular too, but not with joy and bliss, which is interesting. I just think that's very interesting because we we know that I don't know what you would say, but I feel like manifestation happens easiest when you're not even trying, right? When you're not even
Yeah.
trying, literally are
Yeah.
just enjoying yourself, and you have the slightest inkling of something, and then it happens. That's
Totally.
the easiest.
Mhm.
Where, oh, I just kind of thought about like that'd be nice in the back of my mind, and all of a sudden it happened, right? And that's kind of
Yeah.
like you said 100 times on the show. That's like at the restaurant kind of thing for me. Oh, I just kind of thought I'd want those fries. I didn't order them. I don't know why, but then they brought them to me. Like it happens, those things happen all the time. I always walking away with today. I was like, we are going to lunch. We were going to be expected to pick up the bill, so supposedly. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it would be interesting if they pick up the bill. And sure enough, they did. Like, not because I'm cheap,
Mhm.
but it was just I said, oh, that would be interesting if they did that. And as we were going for the check, we all of a sudden learned, oh no, we've got it, right? Like these things happen
Mhm.
constantly, and they happen because when you're easy and light with it, like the usual things
Yeah.
we've heard before, when you're not like, oh my God, but what if it doesn't happen? And if I was that way with things at restaurants, these things would be happening. Oh my God, are they going to give me the extra fries this time? Oh my God, I don't know. Like, or what are extra kale if people are judge me for eating fries sometimes, but whatever. Whatever
Okay.
it might be, it's so that to me, so I wonder because I was like, yeah, like I experienced this flow thing or whatever. Like I call it energy flow. When I've given it a name before, like an energy flow mastery is what I call it. Like
Mm.
you get a sense of something, it's like everything's available. Like hey, you want to move objects, you want to be telepathic, you want to read someone's mind, and you've played with these things. Like,
Mhm.
those are available when we're in that sense of that flow, but then you bring in the energy, emotions into it, and so much more. So it's really cool, really, really groovy what you're talking about. Yeah.
Thank you. When you get those fries and we get those things we only are kind of half thinking about, we're
Yeah.
actually in a state of complete non-resistance. You don't have
Yep.
any built up negative thoughts or anything getting in the way of getting that. So you think
Yeah.
it, the possibility is there, boom, they come together. Like we use the word alignment so often in spirituality. In science, they call it entrainment, right? But they're two sides of the same coin. They're the same word, just different spheres. So when you have things that you have no resistance to, usually little things that you don't have attachment, right? You have a desire perks up inside of you, it overflows out of you as an emotion, right? Sometimes it's a thought, but behind every thought there's a feeling, which is
Mhm.
yummy fries, right? That was the feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, yummy, yummy.
It
I
went
like using
out.
that too, right? I'll be like,
Mhm.
money is yummy, or something like that, or
Yeah,
whatever. Like,
exactly. Hmm.
do it. Mhm.
So that often explains why some simple things often roll into us, but the big things can feel harder to achieve because, like you said, I have a metaphor for it. We squeeze too hard. When you
Yeah.
want something so much, you begin to squeeze it. You begin to try to control it. You begin to put timelines on it. You begin to make bargains with the universe like, well, I've been doing this for 2 months. Shouldn't it be here by now? And it's like the universe is like, hey, buddy, I didn't make that agreement with you. Why are you so upset? You know?
Right.
And I always have to remind myself, that's right. Never got a confirmation that if I thought it would be 2 months, it would be, but we act like, somebody shook our hand on that.
That's
So
so fun.
it's a recognition to me that I've moved from a state of
You
ease
reading
and
wait a
flow
minute,
around it.
I'm gonna interrupt. I'm gonna interrupt. Did you just read my mind too on that one?
Possibly, Daniel, that's what I do.
Minds. I caught that in the whatever stuff I read in advance. And so, because I just had that experience, it was too juicy to just go by. So I wanted to
Ah,
hit that one right away. So I just had that experience early today. I was
yeah,
like, why aren't people getting in this program? I get that whole thing. It sounds like that still happens to you sometimes, right? We're human. Like, why didn't
oh
that
yeah,
thing happen yet? Come on, I've put so much attention and energy around this. I tried to be really light with it, and I
yeah.
thought I was being light for a while there, but really too
Hmm.
heavy, right? So I was like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, I'm seeing momentum, but it's not as much as I expected. What the hell's going on? This has
Hmm.
been forever, and blah blah blah. I actually was talking to Deb, my wife, about this, and she says, literally, it's been out for 2 weeks. Like, what are you freaking out about? I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. It's actually only been 2 weeks, what I think. But because there has been a lead up to it, I feel like it's been forever. I mean, oh, it's been
Yeah.
years this has been going on. Like, literally, it's been out for 2 weeks. So it's funny the
Yeah.
drama that we get into, the unawakened mind, right? It's just like, oh, what's happening?
Oh God, 100%. I have launched dozens of programs. I mean, I have like 36 courses. I taught a program called Me School for a decade, every single year, thousands of students. I've been in the spot you're describing more times than I don't have enough toes and fingers for it. But it's always the same thing. I want people to come in so I can teach them and work with them. If they do that, then I will have enough cash flow and funds and security that then I can spend my whole life doing the thing I'm best at, right? It's a win-win. But if I think about what's the feeling I really want from having everyone around me, instead of the number of people I want in, or, whatever it is that we tag onto things, I want to be surrounded by people who are teachable, trusting, wise, creative, open-minded, who are a lot like me in many ways. We speak the same language. When we communicate, we connect, right? I'm not asking for people to come into my program. I'm asking for a certain, almost like a friend group, to spring up around me and grow with me in my life. So when I come from that feeling space, those are the emotions that I want from this whole big thing. I tend to get that, because what do people outside us really want? Most people don't just want another program or another how-to manual. They want those feelings too. They want to have that same group. They're going to feel those feelings from me way more than they'll ever feel from me, the actual content that I give them. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So I have to remind myself that oftentimes, that this is the reason I'm doing this.
Yeah, it's the
I love to
frequency.
teach people,
Always about the
and I
vibration.
want them. I cheer with them. Like if they have a huge success, like this has happened to me a couple times this week with a couple of my private students. They've had some stellar successes. And I'm like, I just want to go in and feel this success with you. Do you mind if I piggyback on it with you? Because you could share it, I want some of that feeling too. And so we kind of co-create more of that feeling. And gosh, when you have 5 or 10 or 100 people all creating these feelings together, it's like group meditation. You know how they always say that's so powerful, the worldwide meditations? You can do the same thing, but with this energetic manifestation technique based on these feelings. Anyway,
Wow, very
so.
powerful. Well, we could talk about it forever, but that's one thing. We're getting it more in our head. Hey, how about we
Yeah,
experience some of it? How about it? Are we
let's
ready?
do it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, so before we go in, I'm going to briefly tell you, I do have a tutorial that people can get. They can find it on my website or in my app at flowdreaming.com, or the Flowdreaming app. And I explain like how to do it. Oh, and I have a YouTube tutorial too. I always forget about that.
Mhm.
Anyway, I've taught the technique for free for 22 or 20 years now. And the only things that I offer are better ways to, use it and expand on it. So here we go. You've got flow. Flow state is a psychological state, which we kind of touched on a little. Flow state is also the flowing expansion of the universe, a state of utterly no resistance, which works both psychologically when we're like on fire, totally focused, getting things done, as well as when we are in a larger connected space, right? Which I will call flow space. Hallmarks of this: you lose track of time, you forget where you are, you forget you're even in a body, like you feel like you are really completely somewhere else, which is just the same feeling as usually daydreaming gets us to. Like when we daydream and we go, oh, where was I? Like you were someplace else. Your consciousness was connecting into something else. What it is, well, we're all trying to still figure that one out. But we're going to use that daydreaming technique to get us into flow state. So kind of like lucid dreaming, where you wake up in your dream at night. Instead of losing your attention in your daydream, you're going to listen to my voice and I'm going to guide you, and you're going to stay there with me until you reach a point, kind of like when you are just falling asleep. You kind of feel that little layer that you kind of bob up and down through, like, oh, was that my clock? Oh no. Oh, was that? Like you can kind of feel when you submerge a little bit. You're going to pass right through that, and you will forget that 5, 10, 15 minutes just passed. You'll just feel like it was 2 minutes. Or sometimes people tell me it felt like an hour. Like, I know time gets so distorted when we're there. Third thing we're going to do there is we are going to feel gorgeous alignment, because we want to get into that sensation of flow of our lives and our higher selves. And then we can feel some emotion around anything we want to manifest. So I'll do something that's kind of general that everybody wants, right? And I will ask you, please feel these feelings with me. And you might struggle thinking, well, I have to feel it about something, like, and maybe reference something that happened in the past or hope about something in the future. I'm like, no, just feel the feeling. Detach it from external events. Let's just see how long you can hold these feelings. And I'll give your mind things to look at as we go, because our minds like to help out. And, giving it visuals to imagine can sometimes provoke and help unleash these feelings. So that's in a nutshell what we're going to do. It sounds complicated. It's, like I said, it's stupidly easy once you figure out the method. And
Right.
you can do it for like 5 minutes or 3 minutes or 20. So let's close our eyes and we'll jump in. Sound good?
Awesome. Sounds great.
Okay, here we go. All right, so we're going to close our eyes, and remember, this is not self-hypnosis. I don't want your subconscious just passively absorbing. I want you pouring out energy, feeling the energy rise up and move outward. So we're going to breathe a little bit, because our bodies like to capture and hold our tension for us throughout the day. So we breathe. You can yawn, releasing your stomach, relaxing your shoulders, letting them drop. If you want, you can rock back and forth a little bit, like you're a little piece of seaweed at the bottom of a tranquil sea, just a gentle little current nudging you. You can roll your neck a little bit, wiggle your jaw, release your brow. You're going to keep breathing as you notice space around you. Maybe it's noisy, the white noise of a city, the sounds of nature. Maybe it's the noise of your home, your office. Maybe it's quiet. Let your mind extend outward. Let your mind feel the walls, ceiling, brushing your awareness up against everything around you. Noticing too your own body is part of all these things. Remembering that all the things that you're sensing right now, they look physical, but if you were very, very small, everything would just be a collection of atoms, little molecules flying and flinging themselves around each other, somehow holding shape. Every one of them brought together in a kind of blueprint for the thing that it is. How remarkable, how divine that is. Everything would be in motion around you. You would be swimming, as you can feel you are now, swimming in a galaxy of light and energy and motions, in such tiny structures that we just call it information. You notice too that your little bit of information swimming amongst all this, swimming until you emerge now in your imagination. You emerge from a brilliant tropical sea. You walk up on the shoreline, and you're dry, warm. Your body feels soft and flowy, almost as if it's no longer physical itself. The shoreline, as you walk onto it, is made of beautiful powdered sand. It's sugar sand beach, white, glistening. You look back into the waters and you realize they aren't even waters at all. It's just energy. It's bubbling, frothing light. It's the stuff of universe, the stuff of all creation. The sand itself is also the stuff of all creation. Stamp your feet on it. Feel it reverberate. Feel it speak back to you. And you get it. Everything is filled with a kind of awareness, a potential. You can reach down, you can scoop this sand up in your fingers, this brimming bit of energy, and you could sculpt and create anything you want with this. And so you look ahead and you notice that along the shoreline, there's a little path, maybe there's footprints or a line drawn in the sand. And you notice that you've been walking. You're walking now. You're gliding, flowing, twirling, dancing, swirling. You feel light. And you don't ask, where am I going? Or is this the right direction? It is the right direction. It's the only direction. And you can see far out a pinpoint, little sparkles of light, beautiful things happening for you, to you, with you in your life. You don't have to plan or plot the direction. All you're worried about, all you're thinking about right now is, what am I feeling right here? Are there beautiful treasures for me? Are there things I'm desiring? Are there things that I'm wanting? Are there things that I want to become? Go ahead. Look, is there something that you've been yearning for? A feeling, perhaps? What feeling is that? Why don't we look at one? How about, I have all of my needs met, all of my needs, every single one, not a single need is going unfilled right now. All of my needs, my need for love, my need for connection, my need for money or abundance, my need for security, my need for health, my need for connection and friends and stimulation, all of my needs. They're in this moment right here. Everything all of a sudden has come together and every single one is full. Oh, I feel that. I feel that in my heart. It's an outpouring, it's an overflowing, it's thankful, it's gratitude, but it's also receiving. Receiving, as if I were looking down this beach and 1,000 presents had suddenly washed into shore. Yes, beautifully wrapped boxes and bags, things just rolling, tumbling there. And my job is only to keep walking forward and scoop them up. There's even more than I can actually hold, but that's okay. The ones I don't pick up will be reabsorbed in my life. They'll return. They'll be right down the road for me. I lose nothing. I gain everything. My arms are full. My life is so full. Life has gifted me, given me everything that I need right now. And my heart is so open. I say, I receive. I'll take it. I've earned it. You're right. I have earned it. I've earned these rewards. And here I've been thinking I had to do more to get them. And what you're telling me is that, no, you've already got them all piled up. It's like a bank account that you forgot was there and it grew so much interest over the years. Just take it all out. And you're just saying, this is an enormous amount of good things. And life says, well, do you want them all at once, a little at a time, one at a time? Up to you. Take as much or as little as you want. You feel content. You feel full. You have all of your needs met. All of them. Take it in. And you do, and you notice something in your body changes, it brightens, as if you're drinking water, a parched being, drinking it in, drinking, until you are so full. And you say, thank you, I have had enough. I have all that I need. I have all that I need. And as I look down this beautiful, gorgeous beach, the sky above, a deep purple blanketed with stars like diamonds. To the left, there's the sand, and to the right, there's the sea, and there's me. And everything that I'm continuously heading into, month after month, year after year, as life in the universe keeps pushing gifts at me. The gifts of being alive, the minutes in my day, every potential decision or person or connection, one after another. My life is chock full to overflowing. I receive, I open to it, and I allow it. So you hold that feeling, letting it just be in you, and you'll notice your awareness is already coming back. Maybe you're becoming aware now of the space around you, the physical space, and your own body, and your own breath. And so whenever you're ready, you open your eyes.
Wonderful. As you're opening your eyes, guys. Wow, right? Wow, that was fantastic. You're really good at that. You're really good. That's like an extra
Thousands and
one of your
thousands of hours there.
thousands of practices, right? You master. So yeah, really, I mean, that whole process, did you time it? Like how long it took?
I have no idea. When I go out there,
I
I
didn't,
I
I didn't use
literally
the
lose
clock
track.
to
I
time
don't know.
exact. I didn't use the
Mhm.
clock exactly, but I'm guessing it
Yeah.
was like 5 to 7 minutes even. It felt a lot longer, was my point. Like the time distortion is huge. I'm like,
I
we're on
told
this
you.
long journey. Maybe it's not an hour, but I was like, well, maybe it's like 20 minutes now. And I know it wasn't 20 minutes. Like,
Yes.
you get in that timeless state. You don't know, you're beyond time. And
Yeah.
that was really cool on top of all the yummy energy. Like I love I want to say the techniques you use, but yeah, in that flow, you're in your flow state doing that, like your voice and the smoothness and everything.
Oh,
Amazing, totally amazing. Thank you so much. What a gift to see
you're so welcome.
truckloads of cash and everything or whatever I was seeing in there.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever you guys saw, it's great, right? That's what you want.
Yeah.
One of the things that came up for me, and I guess whatever came up with me, you've heard because you've done this so much with people.
Yeah.
Like one thing that came up was when I was forming with the sand, I'm like, I want a pine tree or whatever. I've got pine trees already, but like, I want a pine tree. Then I saw some other kid doing a building or something. And they're like, you're an idiot. Get a building. You don't want a pine tree. I'm like, I got a little sad. Then I'm like, pine, that's what I want. You have what you want. I have what I want.
Sounds like you were battling a little internal resistance there, right? The inner critic
Yeah, like
coming out.
what was it
Hmm.
worthy enough
Hmm.
of what I could have and all this sort of thing. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe I just want a pine tree. I don't, I don't need to have a building, and like so it's interesting. Even in
Yeah.
that, there's still going to be you call it a battle, but like yeah, the little kind of battle or conflict or something that we're working through. Like
Yeah.
oh, it's okay to have just what I want, not what other people think I should want. Do you see
Hmm.
that kind of stuff come up often?
I do. A flow dream is usually layered, it's packed. So on the one hand, we were opening ourselves to receive, but to do that, we had to feel worthy to receive. So we
Mhm.
had to unleash our worthiness as well. Then we had to tap into feelings of what is abundance? What would it be like if all of my needs were met? Can
Mhm.
you feel what that feeling is? So we worked through multiple layers, and sometimes it unlocks those layers of, well, this is the feeling I'm creating, but now I see what's also getting in the way because it's showing up. So in your
Mhm.
case, something around just, social or societal expectations. And you were able to look at that and go, hey, wait, you're not part of this. You're not part of me. You're not
Mhm.
part of my energy, my true being. I'm going to
Mhm.
do this is what I want. To me, a pine tree is wise, it's ancient, it nurtures and nourishes the earth and the air, right?
Yep.
It shows growth. A building doesn't grow. That's
Yeah.
you. That's not me, right? So all kinds of really deep inner shifts can go along with this practice. I use it strictly for healing a lot of times with people. And sometimes I
Mhm.
use it for manifesting. I mean, what you can do in this space is it's crazy. You can just do
Yeah,
practically
right?
everything.
Yeah.
I want to call it a panacea, but it's true. I've got so what we did there is sort of like a guided. It's like a guided meditation. I do
Mhm.
these guided flow dreams, and
Yeah.
I pinpoint different areas. Like some
Mhm.
I'll do for like I have one for confidence. I have one for material security. I have one for being seen. I have one for getting lots of clients. I mean, anything you can dream of, you can put into this space and
Mhm.
open to the emotional context of it. So,
Mhm.
in your case, you could do some more along the lines of, I am, a free and gorgeous, growing, evolving individual. That's my true self. And anybody who wants to put me in a little square building, I'm walking right past them behind you, right? Because that you're just showing me how disconnected, what not a fit you are. Right? Because
Yeah.
you brought up resistance in me, and that told me, oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah,
mean, because as a kid, I tended to be someone who didn't want a lot. My parents would ask me, "What do you so what do you want for Christmas or birthday or what?" I'd be like crayons, crayons. Not like I didn't think I deserved anything. It's just I really didn't have like wild desires all the time. I mean, I did ask for other stuff eventually as I got older, but part
yeah,
of it was conditioning, I believe, though. like, oh, I need more now. Give me the Atari set. Give me the.
Mhm.
But like, I know my lists were always small because I just
Yeah.
never. I think I kind of, that's my thing. I feel like so many of us are not, maybe everybody, but we're kind of enlightened when we're kids, and all of a sudden the programming comes in, it's like, no, you should want that. It's just like this. It's like
Mhm.
that, and it's so it is powerful. I mean, that's a very powerful. It's a
Yeah.
kind of it's a big healing. I would say it's a big healing. I don't want to call it small. It's a big healing for me, like that process right there. Like that's an opening to a huge healing that's unfolding through me right there. So and that took like 5 to 7 minutes, guys. So that's amazing. So I mean, we could go on and on. We've still got more show for sure, guys. We got so much more in these last 10 minutes or so, or whatever it's going to be. But listen, I'm going to go check this out more. Summer, where can we go to check out and get the Flow Dream for clients and whatever the heck it is that we want to focus on? Where can we learn more about all this?
Flowdreaming.com. So I have been out on the internets for 20 years. So I am everywhere. If you Google me, I will come up. But flowdreaming.com is where I have a mastermind where I actually practice this with a group every month. We get together and we flow for certain um, uh, events, or we acknowledge turning points. So we might do a full moon manifesting, or coming up, I don't know when you're going to air this, but I'm having a solstice manifesting where we're going to use flow to kind of clean things and release things from our year. January, we're going to sculpt and build what I call an energetic blueprint for our year ahead, which we'll be creating. But then I also have a whole shop full of flow dreams there if people want to try them out. And just like you heard with me, they're generally don't sound like meditations. I always remind people, you heard I was going fast. I was whipping your head around looking at stuff. I wanted you to stay with me deep in that space. If I get all floaty and meditational, you're probably going to kick back, relax, and just stop working. So I don't do that. My flow dreams all carry. Yeah. So website, and I've got an app too. And of course, my podcast, Flow Dreaming, still kind of woo-woo. Those are the best. Or YouTube.
Cool. Oh, wow. Wow. This is really a treat. So thank you so much for that. And so flowdreaming.com, everybody, and make sure and
Yeah.
look up the podcast as well, Flow
Yeah.
Dreaming. Just use your little Google or Duck or whatever. All the
Duck, duck, go. That's old, man. I haven't heard that in a long time. That's an old
Oh
internet
wow.
browser.
What's the
Where'd that come from?
what's the latest and greatest? I don't even know anymore. But anyway, so cool. That's outstanding. So I'm definitely going to be checking that out. Like I said, everybody, let's keep flow dreaming together. And we're
Yeah.
gonna now let's flow dream a little bit. I've got some downloads through my energy scanning and that I do for my guests that come on. Summer, we're going to get into that in a second. I want everybody, again, to pay attention. Like there's something, these scans, a lot of times people experience healing or epiphanies as I'm doing it for the guests. So I just want to remind you guys, stay with us. There's something here and you're going to learn something new about Summer. It might be like, whoa, I see that too about her. That's amazing. Or, you'll also get your own downloads. So it'll be great. So Summer, are you ready to receive?
Yeah. Should I close my eyes? I work best that
If you
way.
want,
Okay.
it'll be brief, but I'll have 2 or 3 downloads. So let's see what comes through. Here we go. Okay, so there's always many things coming through, but so I go down into your like solar plexus deeper down. I just get this like, everything's yummy. So you do have a part of you that really can, appreciate all the all the energies of life. It's just like, oh yeah, I get pretty resistant about it, but if I'm honest, it's all yummy. It's all yummy. So I just noticed that. Yeah, because You know, if you weren't doing this work, you definitely would be one of those like big time, not that you aren't, maybe you are, I don't know. But like you could be like one of those big time like social advocate type of vibes or something, like around something. You'd be an advocate, you'd be like, this isn't right, but you kind of are doing that through this. Like, this isn't right. This is what should be happening. So you've got a lot of that, but it's this whole thing you do like it's brought you into this yumminess a lot. You used the word earlier, and I guess it's sticking. It's like it came through again. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's see what else is coming through. Yeah, I mean, again, obviously, you're transcending through this stuff through all these decades. The headspace still it does like to go in different places. It's fun, it's creative, it's like, but it also you know. But it does have the doubting energy a little bit. Like it'll be like, well, I don't know, but should we go this way? Should we go that way? And there's so many possibilities. It might also feel, the wounded parts might come up sometimes, and wonder, you know, is that really for me? Of course, you might flip it fast, but like sometimes those I see some of the emotions coming up with that, but you seem to most of the time flip that pretty quick. So anyway, I just noticed that. Let's see, I get one more download. Yeah, I mean, I think this is, I don't know. You could tell me after I share this. I just get again like your books should be everywhere, like I just get like there's another big there's still another big level for this work to get out into the world. And I was hearing, millions of copies. I don't know how many copies have circulated yet. I'm sure quite a few, but like I'm just getting like, oh yeah, like because you've been around the people that sell all these books and you've sold a lot of books, but like when you look at like the level that you could be with this, it feels like there's definitely another huge next level coming in. So I just noticed that wave coming in right now.
Mm.
Yeah, and I'm just doing quick downloads, so otherwise, yeah, we could keep flow dreaming together on that, right? So anyway, so yeah, Summer, any quick reflections or thoughts about what came through?
Yeah, well, the very first thing you said is I actually have a flow dream called Super Inner Yumminess. Like legit. I
Wow.
created that one for me, and I wasn't trying to be silly. I was trying to say I want to feel half strength and power and half wishy gushy, just deliciousness inside me. So I brought those two together and I made a flow dream around it. So you were like right on.
Good.
Um, as far as, yeah, the lack thinking goes, I have yet to rid myself of all lack thinking. Oh God, if I ever did, I'd be a saint. I think I don't know anybody who has.
Walk on the water,
Um,
right?
yeah, I'd be walking on water. But I have really been working to train myself to spot it faster
Yes.
and understand it. So
Hmm.
for me, if I can just shorten the amount of time that I stay in it, it's a success. And sometimes
Yeah.
I can, and sometimes I can't.
Yeah.
But it's an ongoing practice for me.
Good.
And then lastly, yeah, hey, yeah, I'd love to sell 1 million books. Let's get them out there. Let's get it to this world.
Because I was getting, you ought to be more like at the level of like the Wayne Dyers and whatever, Louise Hay, etc. Like you,
Yeah,
like it's, I get like it's appropriate that you're in that realm at least, and you sort of
yeah,
are and you sort of aren't right now. So you're kind of in that in between state. So
yeah,
whatever flow dreaming or whatever needs to be loosened up around that is
hmm,
the next level that I was seeing wanting to come in. And it's just really cool just to see that come through. Yeah.
that's beautiful. I love the confirmation or the affirmation of it. Today, I learned something new about Joseph Pilates. Pilates, like the exercise that's
Mhm.
all your core, right?
Right, right.
I guess when he died, he had 50 students and no named successor. That was it. And
Wow.
here we are, a couple decades later, and there's like 8 million practitioners of Pilates. So
Wow.
I think to myself, you never know when things will finally
Right.
come out. Or even Louise Hay, she didn't her books didn't get out there till she was like 60 something, 64,
Yeah.
I think it was.
She didn't really get
So
started with her work till she was in her 50s. I know that part, but yeah, I don't know.
yeah, yeah. So I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. I'll just keep doing my job and keep, spreading the gospel, if you will,
Yes, you
and just
so many
helping as
lives.
many people as I can.
Yeah, thousands and thousands of lives, I know, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, you're doing great. You're doing awesome. I didn't mean to make it sound like you hadn't done enough. But
Oh
just say like I
no.
need more, and that's a good thing. So that's
Yeah.
awesome. And so if
Thank you,
people,
Daniel.
thank you. And
I
so
appreciate that.
yeah, absolutely. No problem. So we're saying yes to that. Boom, there's power in that. All right. So everybody, if you want to check me out, just go to yoursacredpurpose.com. Get the free meditate, make money meditation. That's a no-brainer. Get in the energy, feel the yummy money coming through, open up those chakras, get your downloads, strengthen your energy. And truly, you will see more money come into your life when you utilize it. At least that's what I see happening for people when they report back to me when they use it on a regular basis, of course. So check that out. I've gotten some of my best downloads through that meditation as well. So my latest creation, Lead Like Jesus, Manifest Miracles in 2024, in part had its absolute genesis in that meditation. Guys, it's hot. You got to get it. All right. Go check it out. And plus, you will stay on a notification list to all these podcasts that I'm doing that when I hear feedback, everybody seems to enjoy. So make sure you get on that. And yes, you can get energy scanning from me. There's that opportunity. You'll find that on there. The Rock Your Sacred Purpose Energy Scan Consultation. Let's dive in. Let's see what's yummy for you. Let's look at your chakras, your energy. Let's go deeper into it. Let's see what's happening. What's sticking the energy, if there is sticky energy. What does want to flow? I like to play with your language is fun, Summer. I like it. So let's see what wants to flow. And I happen to do intuitive business coaching with that as well. So let's flesh it out. Let's see what wants to download and happen through you. So that's at yoursacredpurpose.com. All right, awesome. So Summer, yeah, so as we're wrapping up, any last words for the audience today?
Stay in your flow, go with your flow. It's a lifelong journey, growth and healing and growth and more healing and growth and healing. So if you can find some tools that really work for you, they're keepers for life, whether it's flow dreaming or meditation or anything else. So that's it. And thank you, Daniel, for your gifts to me and your observations and your downloads. I really do appreciate that. And they speak to me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm grateful. And I had a huge experience as well with what you shared. So thank you. And
Yeah.
thank you to everybody listening in. As I always say, to wrap up the show, keep on tuning in. We'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. For listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.